Good evening, Slimy Fertilers, and I haven't talked about Yu-Gi-Oh! For quite a while, so, here's basically more or less what I've been up to. I've been concentrating mostly on this Dark Magician deck, which I would say now is in its kind of version 3.5. Version 3 is pretty similar to how I've got it at the moment. It's just I've found that version 3 wasn't summoning as quickly as I would like it to, so I've swapped a few bits about to make it slightly easier for me to summon, in theory. Trust I played a couple of games with the version 3, and the general consensus was that wasn't summoning quick enough, and didn't have much in the way of defending myself against attacks. Other than relying on, my creatures sort of thing. So, did a bit of a swapping about. It's a 45 card deck still. If I could find a way of slimming it down to 40, I would, but it's not working that way. I haven't worked on any other decks, because there's nothing that I want to change in any of the other stuff I've got at the moment. Haven't looked at any of the newer stuff. Not interested in Zodiac or anything like that. So let's get on and have a look. So as usual, we'll start with the creatures. So we still have 3 copies of Palladium Oracle Mahad, because he's ace. He's basically a sort of, like I say, he's you draw him, you get a free summon. When he dies, you get a free magician. If he battles against any dark creatures, his attack gets doubled to 5,000. So he's there. He's level 7, so you can use him to bring out your EXE stuff. So there's no problem there. And next one, wouldn't be a Dark Magician deck without 3 copies of Dark Magician. No need to really explain why 3 copies of Dark Magician are in a Dark Magician deck. If I need to explain that, then you probably should start playing a different game. So 3 copies of Magician of Dark Illusion. Again, I shouldn't really need to explain why we've got 3 copies of that in, because still running 3 copies of Magician's Rod. Useful for getting out your Dark Magic Circles, searching for your other sort of Dark Magician specific spells and traps. Useful. 2 copies Robe. Again, he's again, you can use him to summon a magician from your deck, and that's about it. Again, he helps with the summoning. Did ponder the idea of upping that to 3, but not going to do that at this time. Maybe I did try running 3 Robe, 3 Rod. Didn't work very well. I've upped the copies of Gargagar Magician to 3 copies. Simply because he's quite handy for getting out. You've got a Mahad, you play a Gargagar, bang, you've got one of your Exeas straight away. Or you can fetch him out with a Summoner Monk and then go into one of your level 4 Exeas. He's useful for that. Whether having 3 of them, because I was running 2, having 3 increases the chances of grabbing him. You can, being as he's a dark spellcaster, you can also buff him with some of the other effects. Final creature, just 2 copies Summoner Monk, dark spellcaster, and you can use him to fetch out other spellcasters. Yeah. I was considering getting rid of Summoner Monk at one point, but I found he's useful. I mean, you can just fetch him out as a blocker if you want, so that's the thing. Right, so I'll move on to spells. Just 1 copy of Raigeki, because that's all you're allowed. The usefulness of that cannot be understated. 3 copies of Allure of Darkness, because this deck does need draw power. I was giving serious thought to putting a couple of copies of Sacred Sword of 7 Stars back in. The problem is banishing your magicians. Your Dark Illusion or your Dark Magicians isn't a good thing with this deck. The problem is that you can bring them back. There was it Escape from the Dark Dimension, which can be used to bring them back. The problem is it's taking up space that something else could go in. That's something that's been ongoing since I started building this deck. I will find a way around it one day, but just not today. I now have 2 copies of Dark Magic Circle. Managed to pull one myself and traded for one. So yeah, I would prefer 3, but you know, Dark Magic Circle is one of the the harder to get cards for this deck. Let's just say that. 3 copies Dark Magic Veil. Pay 1,000. Fetch a Dark Spellcaster from your deck or from your hand or graveyard. Yep, that helped me summon. That's good. I put in 2 copies of Magical Dimension. Being as it's a quick play. Sacrifice a spellcaster to summon another spellcaster from your hand, then destroy one monster on the field. Again, it's helping me summon, so I can trade a Summoner Monk or a Gargagar for a Magician, and then blow something up. Possibility of upgrading that to 3 at some point, I don't know. 2 copies, Dark Burning Magic. It's a Dark Magician deck, so Dark Burning Magic. I was running Dark Burning Magic until somebody pointed out to me that it says you have to have Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl in. I'm not running any Dark Magician Girl in this deck, so I put that in under the impression that it said Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, because I should have read the card properly. But yeah, Dark Magic Attack isn't as good as Dark Burning Magic, because Dark Burning Magic nukes everything, whereas Dark Magic Attack only nukes spells and traps. But it's useful, being as that you know, I need something to destroy back rows and pendulums and stuff like that. Then finally, just 2 copies. It's 2 or 3. It's 2. 2 copies Ancient Rules. Special summon level 5 or higher non-monster from your hand. A Magician. That one's an experimental card. In theory, it should allow me to fetch Magician out. Unfortunately, only the Dark Magicians in this deck are normal creatures, so that's probably going to end up going in favour of another Magical Dimension. But we'll wait and see what happens there. So let's go on to traps. 1 copy Magician Navigation. Again, I would like more of these, but unfortunately, like Dark Magical Circle, people just aren't willing to part with them. And they're quite expensive. 1 copy of Magician's Defense. That might end up going. It's pretty good because it allows you to... It's a continuous trap. You only ever take half damage while ever you've got a spellcaster out. When it goes, you can fetch a spellcaster from your graveyard. I was running 2 of those, but I've downed it to 1 because it's nothing. I might just eliminate it altogether. 2 copies of Call, for obvious reasons. 1 Solemn Warning, because it's damned useful. 2 copies of Eternal Soul. I was running 1 of these, but then I upped it to 2. It's a very risky move, being as that all somebody has to do is MST it at the right time, and you lose everything you've got out. But its ability to make basically every Dark Magician, which, you know, every Dark Magician invulnerable to card effects, and then plus the ability to either special summon a Dark Magician from land or graveyard, or look for a Dark Magic Attack or 1,000 Knives, is useful. It's basically one of the main things I've noticed about Magician decks now. They all tend towards the searching of other things. So that's it. 2 copies Curse Seal Forbidden Spell. A lot of decks are becoming more and more reliant on certain cards as a form of defense, such as Twin Twisters, and you've got your classic old MSTs and stuff like that. Ritual spell cards, stuff like that. Curse Seal Forbidden Spell bans it for a minute game. I actually played a game with the version 3 of this deck. Basically, the person who I was playing against was just running. It was running. I think it was running 3 copies of Twin Twisters, and within, I think it was the first turn, I stopped his Twin Twisters from functioning for the rest of the game. After that, he had literally no defense against any of my back row stuff. So the usefulness of that is debatable, but I don't know, my mindset likes it. I think Cursed Seal of Forbidden is one of my favourite cards in the entire game, to be honest. Finally, for traps, 2 copies Mirror Force. Put these in because you can't always rely on your creatures for defense, so popping a Mirror Force, it's been around since the game started. Popping a Mirror Force, just, you know, brap, and your opponent's creatures are gone. So yeah, that's the main deck. Like I said, that's 45 cards. The extra deck hasn't changed very much since last time we had this conversation. It's pretty much it's pretty much a staple extra deck. You've got 3 copies of Ebon Illusion. Detach one to summon a magician or something. I don't know. Yeah, can't understatement that. 3 copies Ebon High. The ability to play spells and traps from quick play spells and traps from your hand is quite useful on occasion. And then when when he gets nuked, you can fetch a magician from your hand or deck and then destroy a field. So he's basically he's got a magical dimension built into him. So understatement to say that's useful. 2 copies Big Eye, because sometimes you just gotta deal with those pesky critters that that can't be destroyed by other means. 1 Trapeze Magician. I've never used him, but I can see situations where he'll be dead useful. A 101 when you can't afford to fetch out a Big Eye. Castell for the lulls. Dark Rebellion for the lulls. Cowboy for the win. And a new addition, Daigusto Emerald. Useful for fetching out a magician if you need him, or shuffling stuff back into your deck. Yeah. So, that's basically this deck. I do have a little side deck here that it just contains 1 copy to enter tribute. It's not in a deck protector because I've run out of deck protectors for this particular. I've got the Chibi Yugi ones, so that's the thing. So 1 copy to enter tribute. 2 Illusion Magic. I do like this, but it's a situational problem. Another copy of Magician's Defense. Like I say, I might get rid of defenses altogether. 2 copies Black Illusion. Sorry, as a form of protection. That's useful for protecting your Dark Magicians. Not so useful for protecting your Mahads. Mahad wouldn't get protected by it. What am I saying? Duh. But yeah, your Magician of Dark Illusion, stuff like that, wouldn't get protected by it because it's it wouldn't make him negate his effect, which isn't good. So yeah, just that there, quarter of an hour talking about my Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I don't know. I don't really have anywhere where I can go regularly play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, so I might be scaling back my Yu-Gi-Oh enthusiasm until I find somewhere I'm comfortable playing Yu-Gi-Oh at. But yeah, just for the time being, this is the deck I've been working on, version 3.5 of the Dark Magicians. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you later.